Heineke's completion percentage much higher. His wins, much more. Pass rating, much more significant. Passing touchdowns greater and interceptions lesser. So it's not about where Dak Prescott has come from, and it surely is not about where Dak Prescott is going. But who's Dak Prescott right now, and who's Taylor Heinicke right now? Taylor Heineke's playing better. Obviously, there are extenuating circumstances. Cowboys, they haven't been able to find their groove. You could make the optimistic assumption that the Cowboys will find their groove, but if I'm just assessing where are these two teams right now, I trust Washington. I trust Washington this weekend. I trust Washington because not only are they winning games, it'd be one thing, Marcellus Wiley, if they were winning games over the Texans, the Jaguars, the Lions, but they're winning games over the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The odds-on MVP favorite, Tom Brady. They're winning games against the Las Vegas Raiders, those same Raiders that had to go into Dallas and beat the Dallas Cowboys. I'll give it to you like this, and I'll be done with my first lap. If you look at the last 4 games that Washington has won, they beat the Super Bowl champs and the Super Bowl favorites in the Bucs. Then they messed around and beat the hottest team, most energized team emotionally in football. Not hottest, most energized, the Carolina Panthers. Then they went out and beat the hungriest quarterback in football because he had to be Russell Wilson coming off of his injury. And then they beat the same team that beat the Cowboys with the largest audience since 1993, the Las Vegas Raiders. So not only is Washington playing well right now, they're playing well against a team that has more motivation off the field than Washington. Not on the field, but more motivation off the field than Washington. For that reason, I trust Washington this weekend.
Oh, man. Sierra ain't cooking? You talking about Russell Wilson's the hungriest quarterback? What you talking about? Man, I trust the Dallas Cowboys. And I know that you don't trust the Washington football team. How can you trust a team without a mascot? First of all, I mean, come on, this is sports. Let's keep it simple. I know why you don't trust Washington, because trust is earned, not given. And you're giving this team some trust. You're giving this team and Taylor Heinicke your trust, but they haven't earned it. Let's talk about earning your trust, because it's a difference between I trust a team, the Cowboys, and you believe you trust in Washington. I am big. Look at me, big dog. I am big, right? Now, what if I came up here and said, I believe I am big? You'd be like, why you believe it? Let's look. And let's look at the Dallas Cowboys against the Washington football team. And then let's look at Taylor Heinicke versus the Dallas Cowboys, shall we? Because this is not about, I believe that the Cowboys should be trusted. I just trust them. 7-1 is Dak Prescott against this Washington football team in his career. Let's look at Taylor Heinicke, who you believe you trust in. Oh, well, did not play. Oh, well, inactive. Oh, that's it. So you believe in trusting in him because now you want to try and cook the books and time shift. You come up to me and say, Marcellus, I trust in him because you know football's in a 4-game cycle. And football's not based on what you've done, but what are you doing right now? Right now is the key part of that conversation. Right now, you don't know what the Washington football team is going to do when they face the Dallas Cowboys. You don't. You don't know what they're going to do with Taylor Heinicke because you've never seen it. Remember, it has to be earned, not given. So I look at this situation of, well, since we don't know what they're going to do when they line up at that hour, that moment, that second, let's just look at the best indicator of future behavior. Past behavior, and past behavior with these two common teams. You don't have anything of resume from Taylor Heinicke or the Washington football teams that says you should have trust in them, but of course, you believe you do.
So it's different teams, different years, different organizations, different players.
Different weeks.
For sure, different weeks, and I'll give you that one as well.
All right.
But what I know is Dak Prescott, 21-6, I believe, versus division in his career. It's not the same Washington football team, because I also know that Dak Prescott, when he faces teams with records below 500, he dominates. But when Dak Prescott has to see teams that are 500 or better, it is a much different story. Let me tell you why I trust Washington. Because the Cowboys do not trust themselves. I was never a coach, so it's hard for me to speak on being a coach. Can speak on being a player, can speak on being a starter, not for very long. Can surely speak on being a role player, but I can't speak on being a coach. Who can? Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera, when he was asked about Mike McCarthy's comments, remember, Mike McCarthy guaranteed the Cowboys will win. We'll get to that more later. When Ron Rivera was asked about Mike McCarthy's comments, he said you do that for one of 2 reasons. Now, the second reason in which you do that for is because you're trying to convince your team of something. You guarantee a victory because you're trying to convince your team you can win. The only time you ever have to convince someone of something is if they do not trust that thing to be true. Sal, if you are in an argument with your friend, if you're in a conversation with your spouse, if I'm in a conversation with you, if I'm in a conversation with a friend, if I get to convincing them, no, I promise, no, believe me, no, I guarantee, it's because they don't fully trust what is already expected. I don't even think Mike McCarthy trusts these Dallas Cowboys against Washington, because if he did, he wouldn't have to go out there making proclamations in Week 14. Who makes guaranteed proclamations in Week 14? This isn't the Super Bowl. It's the NFC Championship game. It's not even a playoff game. This is not a one-and-done type of accomplishment. He made a proclamation in Week 14 because I don't even think Mike McCarthy trusts his own team, nor trusts himself. So why would I trust a team that don't trust themselves? I trust Washington in this instance.
Oh, man. You ever have somebody do something for you didn't ask for? Like Mike McCarthy guaranteeing a game. And now that's an indictment on those he proclaimed to go out there and win and have victory when they didn't ask for that. Because all their efforts, all their action says, we think we're going to win. Your preparation is your separation. Your preparation tells you that's the proclamation, we're going to win. Sports is built off of that conversation in the mind of all of us. We all think we're going to win. Why are we putting in all this work if we think we're going to lose? So all he did was put a voice, as Dak Prescott said, to what everyone was already thinking. But we didn't ask him to do it, but doesn't mean he's wrong for doing just that same thing. So I look at this situation, let's get to the trust, man, because Mike McCarthy did something that maybe no one wanted to do, but they all are doing in action. So we didn't want to say it, we just wanted to go out there and display it. All right, we do both now because Coach is leading the charge. But this is where your trust should go, because you really have to look at trust like in any relationship. It's based on what we've done. What have the Washington football team done against the Dallas Cowboys? You trust that? Taylor Heineke against the Dallas Cowboys. You trust that? But then I look at the teams. Okay, let's not play this whole matchup of, well, Buffalo lost to Jacksonville, but then Jacksonville beat them, so therefore we're going to be like, I don't want to play that game. I want to play this game. Who has a better offense? Better scoring offense, better passing offense, better rush offense, better red zone scoring, better touchdown percentage, better giving the ball away, taking the ball away, third down defense, sacks. Like, Dallas Cowboys wiping the floor with this team in terms of statistics and ranks, and they also beating them in record. They're 2 up with 2 games to face them. You blink, this could be 4 up by the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know what you trust, because I don't see anything in the resume that should warrant your trust.
Let's start here. What makes fights?
What makes fights?
Yes, sir.
Boxing matches or real fights? Like
boxing matches. The phrase styles.
Mano y mano. Like, I'm thinking about you. The sweet science.
Styles make fights. That's what you tell me. That's what we know. That's how it goes down. Fights. It's not necessarily about all these Cowboys' amazing individual statistics. It comes down to what's up with these matchups on that day.
Let's go.
And I think Washington will match up fairly well, particularly because the Cowboys, they got to figure out what they can do with this run. But Washington, what they do best is stop the run. But really, Sel, let me break it down for you like this. The Panthers started the season 3-0, but would you say right now they're a good football team?
No.
Carolina Panthers. No, sir. Detroit Lions. Would you say they're a good football team?
You're going to know you've been in a fight, but nah, you're going to win.
The Rams. Right now, are they a good football team in your opinion?
Sputtering.
Sputtering. Seahawks. They a good football team right now. New York Giants.
Huh? What we doing?
The reason I tell you this is because the Lions, the Rams, the Seahawks, the Giants, the Panthers,